Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome into a brand new episode of the Review at Rob Show. Appreciate you hitting that play and hanging out with me. On this week's episode, me giving my spoiler free thoughts on Venom The Last Dance as well. I'm going to talk things, all kinds of goodies to talk about this week, man. We got, of course, your horror news. We got, of course, some DC stuff to talk about, but we got Star Wars to talk about. We got Wizarding World news to talk about. We got some Back to the Future stuff to talk about, maybe even some Fallout to talk about, man. So, all kinds of goodies. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this thing with Venom The Last Dance. It is called Venom The Last Dance, not Till Death Do You Part. I got a little bit of a Tom Cruise Edge of Tomorrow deal going on there with Live, Die, Repeat, whatever that was. But Venom The Last Dance is rated PG-13 for intense sequences of violence and action, some bloody images, and strong language. Film is an action sci-fi adventure film running in at 1 hour and 49 minutes. In this movie, Eddie Brock and Venom must make a devastating decision as they're pursued by a mysterious military man and alien monsters from Venom's home world. So, those are the deets on Venom The Last Dance. So, going into this movie, man, going to be completely honest with you, have not been all that big of a fan of the other two Venom movies. The first one's all right. That second movie, didn't enjoy it all. Just over the top, insane, ridiculous stuff going on in that movie. So going into this movie, it's kind of like, okay, I'll see it. With that track record with the other Venom movies and the track record of the Sony Marvel movies lately, been tough. Been a real tough ride, especially this year alone with Madam Web that happened earlier this year, and we'll see how Craven ends up doing later. But it's been a rough go. So going into this movie, I was like, whatever, Venom's a cool character. Didn't like the other two movies, but there's at least some stuff in those movies that were enjoyable enough. Maybe I'll get more out of this movie. It's the final go round. It's the last dance. Let's see how they bring this all around because it's going to be the end, right? That's what they're teasing there in the name of the thing. So it's going to be the end of what's going on here. And then let's see all that stuff. And I like Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's a talented actor. Um, so if you've been with the show for a while, you know that I do not like being overly negative on this show when it comes to movies. There's too many things out there already. There's too many shows out there that love to be negative and just bash, bash, bash stuff. It's not what you get on the Review of Rob show, man. I'm gonna give you my true thoughts on it, and probably won't go too long on the movie overall because it does fall in that same line as I was just mentioning before as a movie that I just did not care about. There's not much I can pull out of this movie as a positive. Some of the CGI is good, the action scenes, some of it's fun, but for the most part, it's just a story that just too many plot holes, too many problems. You're trying to figure out so many different things here and there, and you're like, "What's this now?" They're bringing all these other characters in, these new other versions, and colorful things and all that stuff. Like they're Power Rangers, but they're not Power Rangers because they're not as cool as Power Rangers and stuff like that. And again, talking around myself, not to spoil anything. I know what they are, but I'm just talking around myself, not to spoil it. So, like the whole idea of the movie, if you've seen the other Venom movies, you know that you know how Eddie and Venom are connected, and in that connection, when the character fully venoms out, there is a signal that goes out to the bad world, mysterious creature, as mentioned in the synopsis there, who can immediately find out where Venom is at. So fine, I guess, for the most part. But I mean, again, I'm not gonna sit here and overly dredge on about this movie. It just follows that same line. The most annoying thing to me about the film is it has two credit scenes, both of which seem to set up more Venom films. I'm like, why are we calling this The Last Dance for doing more Venom movies? And again, I'm not going into spoiler details, so I think I kind of give an idea of why they can keep doing Venom movies that aren't fully connected here. But it's like, why would you even do that in the first place? It's a continued mess of the Sony movies because they're contractually obligated to release these films after a certain amount of time or they lose the rights to make these movies. That's why they keep pushing out now this villain movie over and over again that they're making the anti-hero more than the villain now, which again, Craven the Hunter's on the way. It's just they're rushing and they're not putting much time and effort and thought into these movies where, yeah, there's some good moments, but for the most part, it's a story that's rushed. There's plot holes that aren't great. And I just feel like I'm being overly negative and negative and negative here. So we're just going to stop it there. Overall, for me, I didn't like or enjoy Venom The Last Dance all that much. I saw another movie before it. I reviewed that last week on the Review at Rob show called Your Monster. Much better film. Fantastic movie. Should watch that instead. But obviously, I'd never tell somebody not to watch a movie. So, because we all have, it's all subjective. So we all have differing opinions on films and all that stuff. And if you enjoyed it, cool. It's about, if you care about stuff like Rotten Tomatoes, it's very close to the same Rotten Tomatoes score as The Joker. And a lot of people supposedly don't like that movie. Joker 2, excuse me. A lot of people supposedly don't like that movie. It's a couple numbers above that. So what can you do? What can you do? For me personally, I didn't enjoy it. I know some friends of mine that have seen it have considered it a waste of time of a movie as well. So, um, where do you go from here? Is the question. Do we keep making these Venom movies? I would hope not, unless it's in, as part of Spider-Man 4 and doing the stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where, it'll be taken better. It's such a weird thing, man. It's such a weird contractual issue with these movies where it's like you want to like them. Venom's a cool character. Like Venom's a cool character, overly comical in these movies, which is another issue. Like maybe I just don't know the Venom character all that much, but it just seems overly comical. Like it seems like Venom should be like this like badass menacing character, and it's just comical and ridiculous and over the top. He was a DJ in one movie, right? So it's like what. He was doing a rave and vibe and all that. Is like I don't, not this movie. I think that was two, but this movie better than that movie for sure. But just again, not for me. Not for me. So those are my quick thoughts. If you saw Venom: The Last Dance, came out a couple weeks ago. If you saw that movie, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you like it more than me? It's possible I didn't like it all that much, but did you like it more than me, or did you run into the same issues with the movie, um, and all that? Is it the worst movie I've seen this year? No, I've seen worse movies this year, but it's not high. It's not high on the list at all of movies I've seen this year. I'm about at 70 films for the year, and it's down there in the 60s for sure. So there you go. Hopefully that wasn't too negative. I don't want to be negative, but got to review things, I guess. All right, so going from there, let's jump into a little bit of DC talk. Actually, let's go Marvel talk here real quick. MCU talk, different Marvel than the Marvel that does the Sony Marvel movies. Um, they have dropped two trailers. I did a trailer reaction to Captain America Brave New World that is out now here on this YouTube for you to check out. Please go over there, watch that, like it, watch it, help me out, help this channel grow, help my baby monster grow. But they also dropped a special trailer for Thunderbolts as well that I haven't done a trailer reaction for. And I liked both trailers. Let's be completely honest here. I liked both trailers. I'm definitely more interested in the Captain America film just because Captain America is my favorite thing of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I said that in the trailer reaction as well. I like Anthony Mackie. I like what he's done with Falcon. I'm liking what I'm seeing of him for Captain America. Thunderbolts does look interesting. It seems like it's more of like Captain America seems more of the serious route of Marvel film, while um, Thunderbolt seems like more of the typical Marvel movie with a lot of comedy shenanigans going on, with some serious stuff maybe in there as well, and just still a question mark about what the whole idea is there. Still going to see it, still going to have a good time. I mean, Florence Pugh's awesome, David Harbour's awesome, Sebastian Stan's awesome. The whole cast seems to be good. We got returning characters from other movies and villains on. It's their Suicide Squad movie, basically, is what it is. Like it will be enjoyable. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, but between the two, definitely more interested in Captain America: Brave New World. But I will see both for sure and have both reviews on this network. Going from there over to DC real quick. The Penguin series has officially ended. I don't know if there'll be a sequel to that or not, but the final episode has arrived. So if you have HBO, if you have Max, go check that out now. If you've been waiting to binge it or if you've been watching it weekly, good for you. I love that. I've been watching it and keeping up with it as well. Love that show. Fantastic show. Maybe I'll have a review for that later after I finish binge watching everything. But um, there's like 2 or 3 episodes to catch up on, but there is reports coming out now that they're going to do the same thing here. So they put out the Penguin show because the Batman, then they're going to do the Penguin, they're going to do the Batman 2. There's like that bridge gap of a show in between the two to keep the world still around and all that stuff. There's a report that they came out saying between Batman 2 and the Batman 3 would be a Joker series starring Barry. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Cohagen, who we got a tease of as Joker in the Batman movie that came out before. And I don't know much about him. I know he's kind of an up and coming actor growing up there. I know he's in that Saltburn movie, right? That I still have not seen, but a lot of people like that. I mostly know him. It's probably bad, but I mostly know him as Sabrina Carpenter's boyfriend. That's mostly what I know him for, which is weird. As a movie guy, I should know him for movies, I guess. But I know he was in Saltburn and probably some other things that I may have seen. Have I seen? Let's look him up. That's what we do on the Review at Rob show. We look stuff up while we're talking. Barry Cohagen. Movies. So, like I said, I know he's in the Batman. We got a little bit of tease of him. We didn't get a full tease of him. He's going to be in Gladiator 2. Dunkirk. I saw Dunkirk. He is in Dunkirk. That's right. Yes. Okay. Um, Saltburn. I haven't seen Saltburn. Eternals. We try to forget Eternals ever happened. The Banshees of Inisherin. That movie's got Colin Farrell in it. Eternals 2, if that actually happens, we'll see. The Green Knight, I haven't seen that. But anyways, there's reports that he would be getting a Joker television spinoff from the Batman series to be, again, that bridge between Batman 2 and Batman 3, which would be cool. It's a cool idea. It's fun, especially get more acquainted with his Joker. I don't know how much his character will be involved in 2. It seems like some reports have come out that he won't be in 2 all that much. Some reports say he might be. Who knows? Might be Mr. Freeze in 2. We don't know. We're not there yet. But James Gunn, who is, of course, in charge of all things DC, now that I think the last thing that wasn't fully under DC Studios was that Joker movie that came out earlier this year. The rest of it is going to have DC Studios involved in it, and they're involved in this as well, which James Gunn and Peter Safran are the heads of. And he has come out and said a, quote, Joker series is not being discussed, nor has even come up at this time, end quote. Now, Penguin has been a huge success, so you would think that the idea of doing another Bridge Gap show would be a good idea, whether it's the Penguin 2, whether it's some other character from the Batman universe, or if it is the Joker. I would understand the idea, the concept, the need for that to happen again, because that's a good idea, but I trust James Gunn. I always look at this. He's constantly talking about things that he gets asked questions for on threads. He gives responses for, and I read them on the show. And there we are. So as far as I'm concerned, there is not a Joker series happening at the moment, as he put it. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. We shall see. But I think if they're smart and they've seen the success of the Penguin, they're going to want to have something planned afterwards, and maybe they already do. We'll just have to wait and see where that all goes. Let's see. Going from there, let's talk some horror news here, real quick. A third film in the Orphan franchise is on the way. It has officially been greenlit, with Isabella Furman returning for the role of Esther in the Orphan franchise. First Orphan movie, absolutely love that movie to death. I remember getting it at a Walmart. I was walking through Walmart one day. They have, during Halloween season, they have like this bin, $5 DVDs. Saw that movie. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. Grabbed it, watched it, fell in love immediately. Fantastic freaking movie. Orphan, the first kill. Yes, the first kill came out a year or two ago. And I liked it. I haven't spent enough time watching that movie, but I did like it. It's a prequel to the Orphan movie. So I would assume this next movie is going to take place after Orphan. So I'm here for it. I'm fine. I follow her on Instagram. She's still got the close enough look to Esther to pull off the story that goes on there. If you have not seen Orphan, watch it. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil the details of Orphan there, but good movie, man. So I'm fine. I'm fine if they want to do another Orphan movie. They are doing another Orphan movie. I'm fine with them doing it. Bring it on. Let's have some more fun there. All right, going from there, Wizarding World talk real quick. The video game Hogwarts Legacy was a huge success. And they have, of course, I've talked about on the show already that they've announced a Hogwarts Legacy 2 on the way. And details have come out from Warner Brothers Games that the Harry Potter series is coming for HBO Max, HBO TV Harry Potter series will be in connection with the video game. Or there will be some stories that are going together there, or whatever, however they put it. Which, to me, I'm not fully against, because in the world of the Wizarding world, you can have characters that can live an awful long time. You've had legacy characters mentioned in the game already. You've had these things. So it's possible. I don't know how it fully works, but it is possible, because the series is going to be taking place in the time frame of the books, and the time frame of the books is the 1990s. The game is the 1800s to the early 1900s. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it all goes. What I do know is I will be playing that game. I know that for sure. That first Hogwarts Legacy game, so much time was spent not even paying attention to the story. Um, it was just walking around Hogwarts and discovering everything around Hogwarts and all that stuff, and blindly walking into things I was supposed to do as part of the journey of the game. Anyways, just already doing them because I'm like, oh, I see, I got to do something here, and then just do it. I'm like, oh, cool. Um, love that game. That's all I've ever wanted in a video game is to have Hogwarts like that. So I'm more than happy that they're doing a Hogwarts 2. Interested to see how they incorporate that show into it and all that, but I will be there to play that video game without a doubt. All right, so going from there, let's go into Star Wars. So now Star Wars hit some news this week that a trilogy is on the way for Lucasfilm. They have struck a deal with Simon Kinberg, and we don't know much else other than that. There's been reports back and forth that the trilogy will be the continuation of the Skywalker saga, so 10, 11, 12. There's been other reports that are saying it is a brand new trilogy in the Star Wars world. Nothing else has been confirmed here nor there about what it will be either way. What we do know when it comes to Simon Kinberg, is that he does have a history with Lucasfilm and with Star Wars. He was part of the Star Wars Rebel show. He's in the co-creating of that animated series as well. He has a part of Star Wars Episode 7. Episode 7, The Force Awakens. He's done X-Men movies. He's behind Logan. He's going to be doing a Star Trek movie that's coming up. He has The Running Man with, Edgar Wright, believe it's Edgar Wright, The Running Man, and Glenn Powell. He's done a lot of stuff in Hollywood. Some of his stuff has not been the best as well received. Dark Phoenix, The New Mutants didn't do too well. He was behind those things, but he's got a history of some successes as well. So we'll wait and see what he does. I like the fact he has a history with Star Wars and with Dave Filoni and working with them and all that, but it's reportedly in the very, very deep works. Like it's not on the verge. It's not extremely happening anytime soon. Like it's just in deep talks of a new trilogy in the Star Wars, whether it's continuation or a brand new thing that's been announced. What we do know that is happening Star Wars wise is that on April 22nd of next year, season 2 of Andor will be out. So that just tells me I need to go on Disney Plus and watch the other season of Andor because I forgot to watch it. But overall, I like Star Wars, man. I know that Star Wars fans, there's this big joke that nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. And it seems to be accurate. There's just so much hate anytime a Star Wars thing comes out. I enjoy Star Wars. Like, I enjoy that world. I enjoy things. No, I did not like The Acolyte overly all that much. I've only watched 2 episodes of it and couldn't bring myself to continue watching it. I will eventually finish it. I can't fully review a thing without watching all of it. But other than that, I've enjoyed the stuff I have seen of Star Wars, like those movies that came out. I know people shat on them. I like them. Like I like them. I enjoy them. Honestly, I got into Star Wars late, man. Like I got into Star Wars real late because I didn't have anybody around me to watch it. My brother, Tombstone Josh, check out his show on the Thoroughly Podcast Network. He doesn't like Star Wars. My parents didn't really watch Star Wars. I didn't have anybody around me that ever watched Star Wars, so it never entered my world until much later, until I discovered it myself and jumped into that world with a bowling tournament, won a PlayStation, got a Star Wars game, played it, and then eventually saw like I didn't watch the movies until The Force Awakens came out. Because before The Force Awakens came out, I went back and watched all the other movies leading up to that because obviously Skywalker Saga continuation. So the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters was The Force Awakens. So there's that connection I have with that movie. Last Jedi is what it is. Not the best, not the worst. It's what it is. And then the Rise of Skywalker I liked. Like I think it's I don't even know if it's helpful. I'm just a nicer person, I guess, when it comes to things. Like I mentioned earlier with Venom, I don't want to be overly negative about movies. It's I enjoy those movies. I enjoy that world. I enjoy the video games I played. Those not Last Jedi, the Jedi Fallen Order games, awesome. Um, The Obi-Wan show. Loved that show to death. I binge watched that show. Like, had no idea or plan to binge watch that show. I put on the first episode, watched it, and ended up binging it until like 2 or 3 in the morning. Like, I could not stop watching that show. Um, and I'm just into it. So give me whatever you want Star Wars wise. I'll get around to it eventually when it comes to shows, because I'm the worst at watching shows, by the way. The worst. Like, Obi-Wan was the last show I really sat down and watched all the way through. I did keep up with Agatha. Kind of. I was off a couple of weeks with that. I had to binge watch to finish that. And then Penguin, I got to binge watch a couple episodes, because when it comes to free time and watching things, I immediately go to movies. So TV shows kind of miss on me for some things, but I will be there. I will be there eventually. And now with the new season of Andor coming, I will obviously finish and go back and watch that one. All right, what other news do we got here to talk about? All right, last bits of news to talk about. Back to the Future. So Robert Zemeckis was on a podcast called Happy, Sad, Confused, and during that interview, he was asked if Universal is reaching out to him about Back to the Future, about doing another Back to the Future movie, rebooting it, remaking it, yada yada yada. He said, "quote We have to say there are different things that might work." Something like that, but to remake the movie or to suggest that there is a Back to the Future 4, it just isn't in the cards. So if you know me, you know I love that trilogy. I consider it the greatest trilogy of all time. And I am very much in the boat of, I said it many, many times on the show, I do not care if a movie is remade. It does absolutely nothing to the original film if a movie is remade. There's no problem with a movie being remade. With that said, I see absolutely no reason whatsoever for Back to the Future to be remade or need a remake. Back to the Future 4, I don't know. I don't know, and I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible here. I don't know how you make it. Like, there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of things with movies. Maybe it's a relative or whatever, but unfortunately, Michael J. Fox, if you've seen him doing interviews or anything like that, he's not in the best of conditions. Um, so I don't know. Fully do not know how you make another Back to the Future movie unless it's the kid or something like that. It would have to be something along those routes. I have no doubt Michael J. Fox would do his best to be a part of it, but I just don't know. Christopher Lloyd, of course, still alive and kicking. He's putting out movies. He's putting out work, so he's still there. Leah Thompson's still there. Biff is still with us. Like, there's all kinds of things that you could do. We still have some things we could do there, like cameos and stuff like that. But I don't want to see a Back to the Future 4 either. Um, I have no doubt that eventually, at some point, there will be a remake to Back to the Future. After Zemeckis passes away, is probably when they'll try to jump into that money pool again. Because Back to the Future is still business. I mean, that movie gets released in theaters all the time and does good business. So I don't know. He did go on to say that he would like to, quote, "I would like to do a Back to the Future the musical movie. I would love to do that. I think that would be great. I floated that out to the folks at Universal. They don't get it, so there's nothing I can do." End quote. Now, Back to the Future musical has been on Broadway. It's ending this year, I believe, this or next year. It is ending soon, but has been on Broadway and has won awards and all that. Um, and we have had movies based on Broadway musicals before. Most recently, Mean Girls came out earlier this year. That was a movie. They made a musical about it, did very well, and they decided to make a movie again this year, um, which I enjoyed that movie as well. You can check out my review on that. Um, so I don't know. Musical is interesting. There's a new concept there. It's I don't know. Like, I love the Back to the Future trilogy. I don't necessarily see any reason to continue the story. I'll watch it, of course, but I don't know. I'm in that boat where it's like I'm with Zemeckis. There's no need for it. Like, there's absolutely no need for it. So there you go. And then last bit of news, Fallout show, very successful. People liked it, and we've got some fun news here. Macaulay freaking Culkin has joined season 2 for Fallout. I have not seen the Fallout show. I've not played the Fallout video games. I understand they're big, massive things, and I understand that show did very well. Macaulay Culkin, for me, if you're somebody like me who grew up in the '90s, Macaulay Culkin was a big deal. Macaulay Culkin was a big deal. Home Alone movies, of course. Richie freaking Rich. The Good Son. Probably shouldn't have seen that movie when I was a kid, but I did. Um, Uncle Buck. Friggin' go on and on and on. We all watch Home Alone during Christmas time. The majority of us watch Home Alone during Christmas time. Like that dude was a big deal, and of course his brothers are doing great work now too. So, but it's cool that he picks and chooses when he comes out and does anything. So when I see that he's going to be working on something, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Because again, nostalgia of him being an actor that I watched while growing up, and then two, if he's coming out to do something acting wise, then it's got to be something pretty good, right? So that's cool news. I'm glad he's doing something else there. I need to watch Fallout. I don't. What is Fallout on? Is that on Prime? What is Fallout on? What is Fallout on? Why should tell me a video game system? Let's do show. What is the Fallout show on? Fallout show is on Prime. So yeah, need to catch up on that at some point in time. But there you go, man. That is it. Is that all the news? Is that all the bits and pieces? Yes, that is all the bits and pieces to go. Real quick, horror related. Sad news. Tony Todd passed away. Um, legendary actor, especially in the genre of horror with Candyman. And he's in one of my all-time favorite horror films, Hellfest. Love that movie to death. Um, so yeah, sadly, we have lost Tony Todd. Rough year for performers, sadly. So watch a Tony Todd film in honor of him, whether it's Candyman, whether it's Hellfest, whether it's something else. Dude was a really talented actor. Played the Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2, right? He's the voice of Venom. And there you go. There's a Venom you should go check out. Spider-Man 2, the Spider-Man 2 video game that has a Venom in it. Go play with that Venom. But that's gonna do it for this week's episode. Appreciate you all joining in, hanging out with me as always. I have a great time doing the show, trying to build up the Review at Rob YouTube. So if you can please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I appreciate you as always. And thank you for joining the show. I like to always leave with some kind of motivational thought here. Just remember to always trust in yourself, believe in yourself. You are capable of incredible things. You truly matter to this world, whether you feel like it or you don't. You are important. Like there's something about you that is needed to the world, needed to something. So trust in yourself, believe in yourself, treat yourself kindly, and remember, as always, that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all next episode.